Namaste. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirviseshasha Shunyavadi Paschatya Devashatarine Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So thank you for joining in, and we'll continue our reading of Bhagavad Gita. We are reading from the second chapter on text 60. We are on text 60. Of this second chapter, which is called Summary. It's the contents of the Gita summarized. So Krishna is speaking about the Bhagavad Gita, everything he's speaking in short. He's touching some parts of Jnana Yoga, some parts of Bhakti Yoga, like that. He's saying everything in short. So would somebody like to read the Sanskrit? Yes? No? Then I could read it. Yatato hi api kaunteya purushasya vipaschitaha indriyani pramathini haranti prasabham manaha. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The senses are so strong and impetuous, O Arjuna, that they forcibly carry away the mind, even of a man of discrimination, who's endeavoring to control them. There are many learned sages, philosophers, and transcendentalists who try to conquer the senses, but in spite of their endeavors, even the greatest of them sometimes fall victim to material sense enjoyment due to the agitated mind. Even Vishwamitra, a great sage and perfect yogi, was misled by Menaka into sex enjoyment, although the yogi was endeavoring for sense control with severe types of penance and yoga practice. So actually the senses, they're very strong. You know, they are like serpents, and each sense is carrying us in different directions. The eyes want to see something, the ears always want to hear, the tongue wants to talk and taste food. You know, and the skin likes pleasures of the touch, the skin. And so like that, our mind is always disturbed with all these senses taking us in all different directions. So Bhakti Yoga is the simplest way to control the senses, because the only way to control the senses is to engage all the senses in the service of the Lord. For example, the tongue always likes to speak something. If we chant Hare Krishna, then the tongue is engaged. And in that way, the mind is also in control. Because till the time our mind is not controlled, then the mind just keeps, giving us, it just puts us in a game like a ball, throwing us from the past into the future, always lamenting, always hankering. Oh, I should have done this. I shouldn't have done this. I want this. I hope this happens. So the mind is always so many different thoughts and desires. But we need to control all that. Why? Because we are actually not the body. We are not the mind. We are the soul. So somehow or the other, we have to bring the mind back to Krishna. Otherwise, we are just going to keep on continuing to suffer. The anxiety will be too much. So, and of course, there are so many similar instances in the history of the world. Therefore, it is very difficult to control the mind and senses without being fully Krishna conscious. Without engaging the mind in Krishna, one cannot seize such material engagements. A practical example is given by Sri Yamunacharya, a great saint and devotee who says, Yad avadin mama cheta Krishna padara vinde navanavara dhamani udyatam rantum asit tad avadhi batanari sangame smaryamane bhavati mukha vikara sustu nishtivanam cha. Since my mind has been engaged in the service of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, and I have been enjoying an ever new transcendental humor, whenever I think of sex life with a woman, my face at once turns from it and I spit at the thought. So we can see that Vishwamitra, he was in meditation for so many thousands of years. And yet his mind got carried away, his senses got carried away when he heard the ankle bells of Menaka. And so then all his meditation was, it was stopped, and he was enjoying with her. And then he had Shakuntala with her. But we can see the example of Haridas Thakur, who is a pure devotee of the Lord. And because he was relishing so much bliss in chanting the holy name of the Lord, he was relishing so much happiness just being a devotee of the Lord, that even when the prostitute came to him repeatedly, 3 nights in a row she came to him, and she was very beautiful, and she was attracting him with her bodily gestures. But because his mind was just situated and fixed at the lotus feet of Krishna, it didn't get wavered. And in fact, at the end of the 3rd day, she told him, you please give me the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. She became a devotee. That's the power of a pure devotee. So we should try to always fix our mind on Krishna. Krishna consciousness is such a transcendently nice thing that automatically material enjoyment becomes distasteful. It is as if a hungry man had satisfied his hunger by a sufficient quantity of nutritious eatables. Maharaj Ambarish also conquered a great yogi, Durvasha Muni, simply because his mind was engaged in Krishna consciousness. Savai manab Krishna padara vindayor, vachamsi vaikunta gunanu varnani. Now we know the story of Maharaj Ambarish. He is a pure devotee of the Lord. And he was observing the Ekadashi fast. So, and Durvasa Muni happened to come there. So Durvasa Muni told him, I'm going to go bathe and then I'll come and take prasad with you. And by the time, what was happening is the time to break the fast was soon coming, and it would have gone away. So Maharaj Ambarish, he consulted with the Brahmanas, what should I do? Durvasa Muni is not yet come. How can I break my fast? He's my guest, he's supposed to come. But if I don't break the fast at the proper time, then my fast will not be properly, sufficiently fulfilled, you know. The result of it won't be there. So they told him, okay, you drink a little water. As soon as he drank a little water, Durvasa Muni, because he's such a great yogi, he understood, oh, Ambarish Maharaj has broken his fast before me. So even though he's such a great yogi, so much energy, so much time he has spent in trying to control his mind and senses, yet he got angry by this gesture of Ambarish Maharaj. So much so that he created a demon to kill Ambarish Maharaj. His anger became so much. And whereas Ambarish Maharaj was standing there with folded hands that, okay, as you please, you may give me whatever punishment you like. So here we can see the difference. Ambarish Maharaj is a pure devotee of the Lord. And because he is a devotee, he has all the devotional qualities have become manifest in him. He has cultivated the humility, the respect for everyone. Whereas Durvasa Muni did not have those qualities. And then he wanted the demon to kill Ambarish Maharaj. But Krishna, he's the protector of the devotees, always. And so he sends his Sudarshan Chakra to kill the demon. And then after killing the demon, the Sudarshan Chakra is coming after Durvasa Muni. And Durvasa Muni, he's such a great yogi that he's going to the heavenly planets. He's going to meet all the demigods. Please save me from this Sudarshan Chakra. And they were like, we can't do anything. This belongs to Lord Krishna. So we can see that he has so much power. I mean, can we even imagine going to the heavenly planets as if we are going from one part of our city to another? But he was traveling like this. Then ultimately he went all the way up to Vaikuntha to meet the Lord. And he told the Lord, please save me. The Lord said, I'm sorry, I can't do anything. You offended my devotee. And then he's like, don't you have a heart? Don't you have a heart? How this Sudarshan Chakra is going to kill me? And the Lord said, I don't have my heart. My heart is not with me. My heart is with my devotees. Because they are always thinking of me, so my heart is with them. And so Durvasa Muni told him, now what do I do? Please get the Sudarshan Chakra away from me. And the Lord told him, you go and take, again, you ask forgiveness from Ambarish Maharaj. And Durvasa Muni went to Ambarish Maharaj, he asked for forgiveness, and Ambarish Maharaj told him, I didn't even take any offense. I didn't take any offense. So this is the greatness of being a devotee. That's why we always encouraged, become a devotee, you know, and Bhakti Yoga is the highest. I mean, even if we do so much yoga, meditation practices, all that, of course, they are very impractical in our age, in Kali Yuga. For yoga, we have to go to a forest. It's not that you're supposed to do yoga at home, meditation at home. No, you're supposed to go to a forest, choose a seat, put kusha grass, and then sit in a particular position. You don't have to eat cooked food. You just pick up whatever berries and roots you find in the forest. So in our age, it's not practical. So how will we find God? How will we realize who we are? We are Kali Yuga people, you know. So what is to be for us? And that's the reason Lord Caitanya came. He knew that we don't have much qualification. We don't have much determination or even enthusiasm. We do not have enough inquiry, intelligence to actually understand that, you know, our self-interest is actually in spirituality. He knew that. So out of his compassion, he gave us the Hare Krishna mantra. Just chant the Hare Krishna mantra. It doesn't matter wherever you are, and you can get the highest benefit. So that's what we are seeing here. Are there any comments or any questions?
No, all clear.
All clear. Then we can go to the next one. 261. Would anybody like to read?
I can read.
Okay.
तानि सर्वाणि संयम्य युक्त आसित मत्परः वशे हि यस्य इन्द्रियाणि तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता.
One who restrains his senses, keeping them under full control, and fixes his senses upon me, is known as a man of steady intelligence. So the highest conception of yoga perfection is Krishna consciousness is clearly explained in this verse. And unless one is Krishna conscious, it is not at all possible to control the senses. As cited above, the great sage Durvasa Muni picked a quarrel with Maharaj Ambarish, and Durvasa Muni unnecessarily became angry out of pride and therefore could not check his senses. On the other hand, the king, although not as powerful a yogi as the sage, but a devotee of the Lord, silently tolerated all the sage's injustices and thereby emerged victorious. The king was able to control his senses because of the following qualifications, as mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 4, text 18 to 20. Savai mana Krishna padara vindayo, vachamsi vaikuntha gunanu varnane, karau harer mandira marjana disho, shrutim chakara chuta sat kathodaye, mukunda lingalaya darshane drasho, tad vritya gatra sparshe anga sangamam granam cha tad pada saroja saurabhe Srimad Tulasya Rasanam Tad Arpite Pada Hare Kshetra Padanus Sarpane Shiro Rishikesha Padabhi Vandane Kamam Cha Dasye Natu Kama Kamyaya Yathotama Shloka Janashraya Ratihi. King Ambarish fixed his mind on the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, engaged his words in describing the abode of the Lord, his hands in cleansing the temple of the Lord, his ears in hearing the pastimes of the Lord, his eyes in seeing the form of the Lord, his body in touching the body of the devotee, his nostrils in smelling the flavor of the flowers offered to the lotus feet of the Lord, his tongue in tasting the tulsi leaves offered to him, his legs in traveling to the holy place where his temple is situated, his head in offering obeisances unto the Lord, and his desires in fulfilling the desires of the Lord. And all these qualifications made him fit to become a Matpara devotee of the Lord. So we can see that Maharaj Ambarish, he is an example for one who is totally surrendered to the Lord, Atma Nivedanam, that with each and every part of his body, he is serving the Lord. But what about his mind? His mind was fixed at the lotus feet of the Lord. And speaking words, he was always speaking about the Lord, about the spiritual world, about the qualities, about the pastimes of the Lord. He was all the time speaking about the Lord. And his hands, with what was he doing with his hands? He was cleaning the temple. And with his ears, what was he doing? He was hearing the pastimes of the Lord. With his eyes, he was seeing the deity in the temple. And with his body, he would touch the body of the deity, of the devotees. With his nose, what was he doing? He was smelling the flowers which were offered to the Lord. And tongue, in tasting the tulsi leaves and offering and tasting the prasad that was offered to the Lord. With his legs, he was going to the holy places. With his head, he was bowing down before the deity. And his desire was just to please the Lord. His desire was to do whatever the Lord wanted him to do. So we can try to follow in the footsteps of such a great devotee. And we can also engage our tongue to speak about the Lord, chant the Hare Krishna mantra. With our ears, we can hear from Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, the pastimes of the Lord. We can also bow down in front of the deity. Like that, we can also engage our senses in the service of the Lord. The word Matpara is most significant in this connection. How can one become Matpara is described in the life of Maharaj Ambarish. Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan, a great scholar and acharya, in the line of the Matpara remarks, Mad Bhakti Prabhavena Sarvendriya Vijaya Purvika Swatma Drishtihi Sulabeti Bhavaha. The senses can be completely controlled only by the strength of devotional service to Krishna. Also, the example of fire is sometimes given. As a blazing fire burns everything within a room, Lord Vishnu, situated in the heart of the yogi, burns up all kinds of impurities. So we are encouraged, in our position, devotional service begins with hearing and chanting. And then the more we hear and chant, what happens is that all the desires that are in our heart, the seeds for the desires that are there, they also get burnt up because Krishna is there in our heart. And then the more we hear and chant, Krishna within the heart, he takes away all the material desires. And he takes away even the seed of the material desire. You see, if we go for some pilgrimage, bathe in a holy place, or do some prayaschit, what happens is our sins goes away, but our desire to sin doesn't go away. Those desires still remain in our heart. But by engaging in devotional service, by hearing and chanting, our desire to sin goes away. The Yoga Sutra also prescribes meditation on Vishnu and not meditation on the void. The so-called yogis who meditate on something other than the Vishnu form simply waste their time in a vain search after some phantasmagoria. So yoga actually means to link with God. That is yoga. That's the meaning of yoga. And the way to do meditation is to fix our mind on the form of Lord Vishnu, on the form of the Paramatma in our heart. Not that we meditate on some or imagine something or meditate on some light. No, all that is only mental speculation. It's not going to take us out of this material world. It will still keep us in this material world. We have to be Krishna conscious, devoted to the personality of Godhead. This is the aim of the real yoga. And so that's why we are encouraged to engage in bhakti yoga. For in our position, bhakti yoga is the simplest, which begins by hearing and chanting. Any questions or comments? If no, then we can go to the next verse. Text 62. Would somebody like to read that?
I can read.
Okay.
Dhyayato vishayan punsa sangaseshu pajayate sangat sanjayate kama kamat kruto vijayate.
So now let's see, how does anger come? While contemplating the objects of the senses, a person develops attachment for them. And from such attachment, lust develops. And from lust, anger arises. So Krishna, he's step by step explaining how something happens. How do we get lust? How do we get angry? So it begins with contemplating of the objects of the senses. The minute we start thinking about them, the whole process starts in the mind. The minute we start thinking that, oh, it would be so nice to have this, anything, maybe we want to eat some favorite thing of ours, which we can get it in a faraway place, And then we keep thinking and thinking, and then the more we think of something, then we get attached to it. We really want to have it. Then we start feeling, oh, if I get it, it'll be so good. If I don't get it, I'll be unhappy. And then with that attachment, really, then we get the lust that, no, I'm going to go and get it for myself. And if we don't get it, because by that time already the attachment is so much, if we don't get it, we get frustrated. Frustration is another form of anger. Or we get depressed, which is also internalized anger. One who is not Krishna conscious is subjected to material desires while contemplating the objects of the senses. The senses require real engagements. And if they are not engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, they will certainly seek engagement in the service of materialism. So you see, our mind can't be empty at any time. And even our senses, they continuously, the eyes want to see something unless we are sleeping. But if we are awake, we will be seeing something or the other. We will be speaking something. We will be hearing something. All these senses are active the whole time. Our mind is thinking all the time. So if they're not engaged in thinking of Krishna, they'll be engaged in thinking of material things. But then we might say, but what do you mean, that we don't do anything, just sit down in one place and think of Krishna? Well, for us, it's not possible to do that. So that's the reason Krishna says that you do whatever you want to do. You do your duty, but you just connect your duty to me. You offer the result of your duty to me. And in that way, we are thinking about Krishna, So it's like an indirect thing. For example, if I like to work, then with whatever money I make, then a portion of that I can give to the Krishna conscious society. And in that way, then my activity gets purified. I connected it to Krishna. So each of us, whether we are students, we should say, okay, I'm a student, I should be the best student for Krishna, so that I can be an example. If we are housewives, then we try to do our duty the best way we can for the pleasure of Krishna. Whoever we are. In the material world, everyone, including Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, to say nothing of other demigods in the heavenly planets, is subjected to the influence of sense objects. And the only method to get out of this puzzle of material existence is to become Krishna conscious. Lord Shiva was deep in meditation, but when Parvati agitated him for sense pleasure, he agreed to the proposal. And as a result, Kartikeya was born. When Haridas Thakur was a young devotee of the Lord, he was similarly allured by the incarnation of Maya Devi. But Haridas easily passed the test because of his unalloyed devotion to Lord Krishna. As illustrated in the above mentioned verse of Sri Yamunajacharya, a sincere devotee of the Lord shuns all material sense enjoyment due to his higher taste for spiritual enjoyment in the association of the Lord. That is the secret of success. So it's not that the devotee is deprived. It's not that he's frustrated. It's not that he's artificially suppressing his desires. No, he's experiencing a higher bliss. And that's why he's able to give up the lower one. Like the devotees always tell a story that there was a small girl and she wanted to have a necklace. And so the father gave her a necklace of imitation pearls. And then, but as she was growing up, he wanted to give her the real pearl necklace. But she was not ready to let go of the imitation one. She said, no, I don't want to part with this. She didn't know what he was giving her in return. He kept saying, give me this, the imitation one, I'll give you the real one. But because she was so attached to the imitation one, she just wouldn't let go. Until one day she finally realized, she said, okay, here, take this imitation necklace. And what she got was the true treasure, the real necklace, the real pearls. So we are like that. We are so attached to this material world that we are not willing to let go. We have our doubts, we have our desires. That's why we are still continuing holding on to those desires. But if we just have some faith in Krishna, have faith in the process of devotional service, take it up seriously, take it up with determination. Gradually, we will understand that yes, this is the imitation pearl necklace, and that the spiritual life is actually the real meaningful life. One who is not therefore in Krishna consciousness, however powerful he may be in controlling the senses by artificial repression, is surely ultimately to fail, for the slightest thought of sense pleasure will agitate him to gratify his desires. So there are so many people who artificially control their senses that no, I'm gonna not do this, or I'm not gonna, many people, they take up some tapasya for some time by some mental strength that they want to do that, but can't be done for long. It can't be done for long. Surely, because the senses are too powerful. They are compared to venomous serpents, like snakes with poison. But if those same senses are engaged in the service of the Lord, then they become like serpents whose poisonous fangs have been removed. So there's no more poison in them. In fact, those very senses, we can serve the Lord and we can feel the bliss. With the very same tongue, which at one time was always wanting to speak bad about others, we can engage that same tongue to chant the Hare Krishna mantra, to chant the glories of the Lord. Is that okay? Yeah, so we can go to the next one, 263.
I read.
Yes, please.
क्रोधाद्भवति सम्मोहः सम्मोहात् स्मृतिविभ्रमः स्मृतिभ्रंशात् बुद्धिनाशो बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति.
From anger, complete delusion arises, and from delusion, bewilderment of memory. When memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost. And when intelligence is lost, one falls down again into the material pool. So Krishna is saying, showing that how just by thinking of something, it begins with that. We just think of something, then we get attached to that. Then with that attachment, we really, really want to get it. That intense desire comes. And from that intense desire, if it's not fulfilled, we get angry, frustrated. Then what happens? From anger, complete delusion arises. We get all bewildered. We get so angry that we forget everything. Then we are just into our emotions, our feelings. Delusion, bewilderment of memory. And when memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost. And when intelligence is lost, one falls down again into the material pool. Srila Rupa Goswami has given us this direction. Prapanchikatya buddhya hari sambandhi vastunaha mumukshubi parityago vairagyam falgu katyate. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.2.258. So Srila Rupa Goswami is one of the great acharyas in our line. He's one of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. And he has given us the wealth of the bhakti literatures. Lord Caitanya specifically empowered him to write all the bhakti literatures. And one of the great books is Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which Srila Prabhupada translated, not verbatim, because Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu is very, very vast. So Srila Prabhupada put it in a condensed form in the book called Nectar of Devotion, where all the where it speaks about devotional service. By development of Krishna consciousness, one can know that everything has its use in the service of the Lord. Those who are without knowledge of Krishna consciousness artificially try to avoid material objects. And as a result, although they desire liberation from material bondage, they do not attain to the perfect stage of renunciation. Their so-called renunciation is called falgu, or less important. So as a devotee, like the highly pure devotees, the advanced devotees, they see everything in relation to Krishna. They don't say, no, I don't want this. I need to stay away. I can't speak anything. I can't see anything. I'm not going to sit in an aeroplane. I'm not going to use the mobile phone or laptop. All this is sense gratification. No, what do? They have laptop, they have mobile phone. They use that to communicate, to give more discourses. We can see now in COVID time that the devotees are giving more and more classes on the internet. And the devotees, they travel from here to there. Why? For our benefit, so that we can hear from them, to give us association. So whereas if somebody says that, oh, all this is just Maya, I don't want aeroplane, going in aeroplane is Maya, then that is called Falgu Vairagya. It's called monkey renunciation. Means we are just renouncing it artificially. We have not understood the true meaning of the word renunciation. Because why? Because nothing belongs to us. Everything belongs to Krishna. So what can we renounce if nothing belongs to us? If everything is belonging to Krishna, then we should use everything in his service, engage everything in his service. That's how the pure devotees think. So on the other hand, a person in Krishna consciousness knows how to use everything in the service of the Lord. Therefore, he does not become a victim of material consciousness. So it is material consciousness to say that, oh, this is material, so I will not use it. That's in fact a material consciousness. For example, for an impersonalist, the Lord or the Absolute, being impersonal, cannot eat, whereas an impersonalist tries to avoid good eatables. A devotee knows that Krishna is the supreme enjoyer and that he eats all that is offered to him in devotion. So, after offering good eatables to the Lord, the devotee takes the remnants called prasadam. Thus, everything becomes spiritualized. There is no danger of a downfall. The devotee takes prasadam in Krishna consciousness, whereas the non-devotee rejects it as material. So an impersonalist might say, oh, I must eat only very simple food, because by eating opulent, rich food, different kinds of varieties, that means I'm in Maya, But a devotee doesn't see that, because Krishna also eats. Krishna enjoys good food. So a devotee, he prepares very good food, offers to Krishna, and he also enjoys it. He's also eating pizza and burgers and puri and rabri, whatever. He doesn't say, no, I am not going to eat this. So the impersonalist, therefore, cannot enjoy life due to his artificial renunciation. And for this reason, a slight agitation of the mind pulls him down again into the pool of material existence. It is said that such a soul, even though rising up to the point of liberation, falls down again due to his not having support in devotional service. So an impersonalist, a jnani, he might reach up to the Brahma Jyoti, but because he is not situated in bhakti yoga, he will come back again to this material world. There is no other way except engaging in bhakti yoga. No matter what we can try with our mental speculation, we can try to form new paths, but there isn't any. Try for hundreds and thousands of births. With that frustration, we might get some knowledge, jnana. With that, we'll reach up to the Brahma Jyoti also. But again, we are going to come down. Only if we engage in devotional service, somehow or the other, we get in touch with the devotee of the Lord, then from that impersonal Brahman situation, can we progress to the spiritual world. Like the four Kumaras, they were Brahmavadis, they were Jnanis, they were liberated souls. They were on the platform of the soul. And then as soon as they smelt the tulsi leaves which are offered to Lord Vishnu, they became devotees. So we have always heard, we have always seen the examples that how so many impersonalists, they became devotees. Because devotional service is where the real bliss, we can enjoy the real, taste the real nectar. But a devotee he never becomes an impersonalist. It never happens, because the pleasure of just being on the platform of the soul is very little compared to engaging in devotional service, compared to being connected to Krishna, because Krishna is the source of all pleasure. So that's the reason Lord Caitanya, he just said, Yare dekha tare kaha Krishna upadesh. We are fortunate, somehow or the other, we have gotten the association of the devotees. We have gotten the opportunity to hear and chant about Krishna. So we should give this opportunity to others and make them also fortunate. So they can be also elevated of their suffering. They can also taste the bliss of Krishna consciousness. Any questions or comments? No? Then maybe we could do one more and then we can chant. 264, Sheetal, would you like to read?
Yeah. Ragadvesha vimuktaisthu vishayanindriyaischaran atmavashyir videyatma prasadam adhigacchati.
But a person free from all attachment and aversion and able to control his senses through regulative principles of freedom can obtain the complete mercy of the Lord. It is already explained that one may externally control the senses by some artificial process, But unless the senses are engaged in the transcendental service of the Lord, there is every chance of a fall. Although the person in full Krishna consciousness may apparently be on the sensual plane, because of being Krishna conscious, he has no attachment to sensual activities. So same we can think, same way we can think. Somebody is saying, oh, I don't want a phone. I don't need a mobile phone. Mobile phone is Maya. So artificially he's trying to say, no, I will not get a phone. But in his heart, he has the desire, oh my God, everybody has a phone, only I don't have it, It would be so nice to have a phone. I could connect to people. But outwardly, he's like, no, phone is Maya, so I won't get it. But whereas a devotee of the Lord, you can see, oh, he has the latest iPhone, Somebody got him the latest iPhone. He has a nice MacBook also, computer, matching also in colors. So outwardly we might say, oh my God, this is a devotee or what? How come he has all these latest gadgets? But because he's using them in Krishna's service, his position is secure. He does not have any internal desires then, he has the phone and the computer, but for what reason? He's using it to hear and read about Krishna. He's using it to give classes about Krishna. He's using it to do more research about Krishna. So apparently we might say, oh, how come this devotee is enjoying so much? But he's actually situated on a pure devotional platform. So this comes to mind one pastime. Mukunda Datta and Gadadhar Pandit, they were associates of Lord Caitanya. And so Mukunda Datta told Gadadhar Pandit that, come, I'll introduce you to a great devotee. And the great devotee's name is Pondarik Vidyanidhi. Come, we'll go meet him. So they went to Pondarik Vidyanidhi's house. And over there, Gadadhar Pandit saw that, oh, Pondarik Vidyanidhi is a very rich man. He's wearing a lot of opulent clothes and wearing so many jewelry. And he's sitting on a very nice golden swing. And there are servants, they are fanning him. And there is so much opulence around him. He has cushions and golden utensils. And then Gadadhar Pandit is thinking in his head, is this a devotee or he's a materialistic person, What's happening here? I don't understand. How come Mukunda Datta is saying this person is a pure devotee? Now Mukunda Datta could understand Gadadhar Pandit's mind. So he recited a verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam. And as soon as he recited the verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, then because Pondarik Vidyanidhi was a pure devotee of the Lord, he immediately exhibited ecstatic symptoms. He lost his external consciousness. He was just so happy, just in the bliss, in the remembrance of Krishna. He was just remembering Krishna so much that he was, throwing his plates here and there, not caring what's happening. And then Gadadhar Pandit could see, oh my God, he's really a pure devotee of the Lord, of the highest platform. Somebody who can have so much love for Krishna that just by hearing one verse of Srimad Bhagavatam has brought him so much separation of feeling for Krishna. And Gadadhar Pandit was better ask forgiveness from him. And he asked forgiveness from Pondarik Vidyanidhi, and he also took initiation from him, because he felt bad that he criticized such a devotee, even just in the mind. So outwardly, somebody might think that, oh, this looks like a materialistic devotee, but the devotee might be of the highest, most advanced, We never know. We never know. The Krishna conscious person is concerned only with the satisfaction of Krishna and nothing else. Therefore, he's transcendental to all attachment and detachment. A pure devotee, what he wants? He just wants to serve Krishna. He does not have his personal, oh, I want to do this. I wish I can do this. I wish I want to do that. No. His thing is, I wish I want to do this because it will please Krishna. If Krishna wants, the devotee can do anything which is ordinarily undesirable. And if Krishna does not want, he shall not do that which he would have ordinarily done for his own satisfaction. Therefore, to act or not to act is within his control because he acts only under the direction of Krishna. This consciousness is the causeless mercy of the Lord, which the devotee can achieve in spite of his being attached to the sensual platform. So we should endeavor that do it for the pleasure of Krishna. Let me do this. Let me do my duty to the best of my ability, to the best of my capability, to please Krishna. Let me chant the holy name. Although I don't like to chant the holy name, let me still chant my rounds of the Hare Krishna mantra because it's pleasing to Krishna. I don't like to hear lectures, but let me still hear it because Krishna will be pleased by it. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, then. Are there any questions or comments? If no, then we can stop here and chant one round. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we thank everyone for joining in. Thank you so much. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.